Hi everyone, Todd Peak Appliance here. Looking at a gasket here. These gasket videos are real difficult to film, so I was just going to throw out a couple pointers here, but it's kind of a tight space, and this is a 24-inch machine. It's a GE. This kind of goes for all machines, so all front loaders. There's the model number on this, and this one here is actually built by Samsung for GE. It's newer. Excuse me. They probably started making them, I don't know, within the last 10 years or so. And here's the old gasket, and on the outside bottom, which is here, there's a little tear, and this one will ruin your day. That's on the bottom, which was right around here. So I put this one on already, and it's got the clamp in place. These things are kind of tricky, and now there's probably quite a few YouTube videos out there, but I've seen them. Most manufacturers tell you to take the whole thing off and access it that way. Well, I mean, you could do it like that. Then you got to take the dryer off and whatnot. I've always done it this way. Of course, I've done, I've been doing this for some time, so I've done quite a few of these gaskets, but I've always done them from the front like this. This one here kind of rolls in nicely. I just did this for illustration purposes. And then this basically folds over the front on that lip, and that's held in place by this spring, which is a little tricky to get on, but not too bad. It's probably best to use something plastic. I always use a small screwdriver just to stretch that spring. But the real tricky part on this one here, for one, this is an expensive gasket, and actually the door lock on it was broken too, and it's a real expensive door lock as well. So here's the one that we're replacing. And the way that you actually get at it, as is most door locks, if you can get them open, is you got to take this ring off. Again, it kind of pertains to most front loaders, I'd say. They pretty much all have some sort of a spring retainer like this that sits in the groove. Yeah, it's probably a good idea to work. The spring's usually on the bottom, and I usually always put them there, but you could put them on the top too if you fear of poking a hole in it or whatever. I'm sure the door would close fine. But and I also want to share some part numbers on this, because this one here is and I don't really like sharing part numbers, but this one here I've found, if you can find it, it's real expensive. That's the door lock, the GE part, and then that actually cross references to this Samsung number, that DC64. So I've had a hard time finding both though in the past. Right now they're available, and I'm not the hugest Samsung fan, but I know they made a similar machine like this years ago for Maytag, and I think it's like the same cabinet or whatever. The controls are all different, but I still see them out there, and I think they're a pretty good machine. And especially in the small appliance world, you're kind of stuck if you have a tight space or what have you. So here, I can't really film this. You don't see anything, and I just can't get the angles, but I just wanted to share you can see this here up in there. That's actually a long threaded screw, and it's a Phillips head right here. So I have pretty long hands, and I don't know, it might be not as advantageous, but if you have smaller hands, it probably helps. And then I use this 90-degree on my drill, and you need two hands, but you push this in and you can wedge this up there. Actually you need like three hands, but it's quite difficult with two hands, but I don't know, if maybe smaller hands does help, like I said. But anyway, this is already clamped on, so I wanted to share that with you. And then this here, basically just kind of work this around. I'll need my other hand for that. And yeah, I just can't quite get the zoom. And then this ring goes on the outside of the lip, which this is actually the easy part, especially once you pull it off, you'll figure out how to put it back on. But up in here is where it's quite difficult. You just really need to take your time and make sure that this lip is engaged down in here, kind of pops into place. It's usually easiest to start from the top. And again, this applies to most machines. Most machines do use something that this works on. There's a couple Samsung, or LGs, I believe, maybe some Samsungs, but LGs, they use a special tool, which I've shot a video on that as well. And what's the other tool I like using? This as well. Right now I have a headlamp on, but you can use this, and you want to check your all around the ring, make sure it's in there. By the time you pull the one off, you'll be able to see how the new one gets put back on. And then hopefully you can execute the move like that. So that's that. I hope that helps some people if you're struggling with the front loader door gasket. So that's it right there. So if you like that, give me a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.